Hello, fight fans, and welcome to the Combat Challenge podcast. My guest is a light heavyweight professional MMA athlete who competes out of Asylum Valley Judo under the guidance of head coach Mr. Danny Mitchell. He also trained and competed in other disciplines such as boxing, kickboxing, and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. He fought over the weekend on Cage Steel Promotions against Ben Schneider, which he joins us to talk about other martial arts related subjects. Mr. Robbie TNT Kennedy. Robbie, thank you so much for joining us, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us, especially soon after you've had your fight, and to share that with us. I'm really grateful. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's just great to get back in there. I'm not going to lie, it's been about a year and a half off. And, obviously due to lockdown and due to a few other issues as a fighter and injuries. I was just glad to get back in there and, make my pro debut. Yeah, it was great. Great.
Now, before we go on to talk about that fight, brother, the fight name TNT, where did that come from?
All right, so as mad as it sounds, my kids. So my daughter's called Taya, and my son's called Thierry. So it was my daughter. She was born with Down syndrome, and it was a massive shock to the system, and that's the main reason why I started martial arts. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I just thought, how can I protect her? And me being me, I thought, well, I'm gonna try and just learn some martial arts, and be able to defend myself and defend my family.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting because normally you think of TNT as like explosion. So it's a good twist on that fight name, right?
Yeah. Like I said, it's a massive spin. Like I said, I like to say I've got explosive power, explosive speed, but the whole reasoning behind me even starting the martial arts game was for my kids. Especially my daughter. So that's the main reason as to why I started it, and then it just flowed. Robbie TNT Kennedy. It's got a nice flow to it as well, so I like it. So that's the one.
It has, brother. Now, you fought over the weekend on Cage Steel Promotion, and you fought against a chap called Ben Schneider. What did you know about Ben? What was the game plan to deal with him? And then talk us through the fight.
Yeah, I watched a few of his fights. Obviously, he's quite an experienced fighter, and from what I saw, a lot of pressure. I think that you could put pressure onto him and obviously maybe back him up a bit. And I just wanted to go in there and just let loose a bit with my striking, because it has been such a long time since I fought, and I just used my kickboxing skills. I didn't even throw really well. I did throw hands, but the main thing that kind of caught him was the kicks, and kind of backed him up, and then obviously the hands come over the top after the kicks. The kicks kind of finished him off a little bit. Yeah.
And how did the fight end, brother?
It was a first round TKO. So I think it was about 1:07. Few leg kicks. Started off just leg kicking him. Mixing up a bit, leg, head, mixing, different levels. I level change, love to level change and, just confuse opponents. And then, once I hit him with a leg kick, just kind of backed him up. And once he got fully backed up against the cage, obviously the hands just came over the top. I caught him with a right, it dropped him. And then obviously, the referee just kind of stopped the fight from there.
Now, I don't know if you guys are similar height or similar reach, but you seemed a lot taller. You seem to have a lot of more reach. Were you similar height?
Well, I'm 6'5" or thereabouts. So, obviously, no, he was a bit small. He's the tallest guy. He's at least 6 footer. I'm not saying he was small. I wouldn't say he was small, but, at least 6 foot. But yeah, I definitely had a reach advantage over him. Yeah, definitely.
Brother, you'd have a reach advantage over a lot of people being 6'5". They should call you Robbie Scaffolding Kennedy or something,
I'm going to leave that one to Stefan. I like the skyscraper, so I'll leave the skyscraper and the scaffoldings to him, man.
Yeah, Stefan Struge. How tall is he?
I think he was 6'9" or something. I'm sure he's not far off 7 foot anyway. I know he's a big guy. I think he's thereabouts Tyson Fury's kind of height. So, he's a big guy. Big unit.
So you've had some amateur MMA fights, and this was your first professional MMA fight. But before this, you were in the striking arena. You were competing and training. Can you tell us about your martial arts journey from a young age, Robbie? What sort of disciplines you got into, and talk us on that timeline to where you are now?
I first started Taekwondo many years ago, and I only got up to about a yellow belt, and I think I didn't like it because I had to learn another language, you know. And being a kid, I thought, yeah, I enjoyed the obviously this, you know, the learning the new skills and the martial arts, but I think it was the language barrier, especially at such a young age, because the Chinese is quite, you know, it's a very, you know, well, it's just such a difficult language, I think, at that age to kind of grasp. You know, I wasn't really involved in it, and I kind of took a back step with that and kind of just fobbed it off at such a young age. And then, like I said, it wasn't until my daughter was born 10 years ago that I actually restarted training. So I've only really been in the you know, the kickboxing game for 10 years. MMA then kind of fell in 2018. Did a bit of boxing about 6 years ago. Started doing a little bit of boxing. You know, just started doing like a charity, you know, with the charity events, Collar White Boxing. Did one of those, and yeah, I just enjoyed it and just enjoyed mixing it up. And then it wasn't until I went to Manchester Predators, where you know, that's where I first started learning MMA, and I fought in the UKFC as well. The first year I was training MMA, it was such a mad roller coaster of a ride, you know, in terms of doing the kickboxing, going to, you know, numerous competitions up and down the country, around the world, and didn't really get noticed, you know. Yeah, you know, people on the circuit know you. It's like I fought on the same circuit as, you know, MVP, Raymond Daniels, you know, fought on the same circuits and the same, you know, tournaments that they've fought on, but obviously never quite made it to the stage of Bellator or the, you know, the big professional league that MVP's in, and you know, Raymond Daniels. So it was just one of those things. I got a bit frustrated with kickboxing. As much as I loved it, I got frustrated because there was no, like, you know, kickboxing is not in the Olympics, but Taekwondo is, you know. So as much as, like, I love watching Taekwondo in Olympics, I just think it's not real because you'd never fight with your hands down there and just kick. You know, for me, and that's why I prefer like kickboxing in terms of like the stand-up striking. I do think kickboxing's at a far superior level than Taekwondo. But you know, each to their own. I suppose it's one of those things. But I just fell out of love with kickboxing after a bit, and then ventured to MMA, and just fell in love with MMA. And you know, I've been at it for 3 years, and it's just been nice to, you know, after a loss, my last fight, like I said, a year and a half ago, to come back, make my pro debut, and get a win. So.
Now, you mentioned Manchester Predators. Did you have to commute there, or were you living in Manchester?
I was living over in Manchester for a bit, but I've commuted as well. So, yeah, it's a mad life of a fighter. You know, obviously, I was with my first kid's mum in Bradford. Then we split up, and then obviously my new partner was in Manchester, so I was kind of always back and forth. So I was working in Bradford, but obviously then I had a partner in Manchester as well. But then I'd go to work, drive back to Manchester, train, finish training 9 o'clock, go back home, go to bed, boom, go to work. And it was a vicious cycle. You know, it took its toll on me. A lot of traveling. You know, I was doing it for quite a lot of time, you know, back and forth, and as well as obviously spending time with kids and family over in Bradford and all my friends. You know, so it massively took its toll on me over the last year or so. But you know, it's life. You know, and it's a life of a fighter. If you want to train and you want to, you know, improve yourself, you have to go to different gym to learn different skills, I suppose. You know, there's people that fly to bloody Thailand, you know, to go and learn some Muay Thai. You know, and you know, I know we've got great Muay Thai fighters, Muay Thai gyms over here. We've got a Boosings Muay Thai in Bradford. You've got Bad Company in Leeds. You know, and that's just to name a few. You know, it's no disrespect to anyone that I've not mentioned already, but you know, there'll be plenty more in Bradford, Leeds, and you know, in the surrounding areas.
For sure, brother. Now, you mentioned Manchester Predators. Now, am I right in thinking, is it Gav Boardman who's part of that?
Yeah. He's a very lethal man. You know, big shout out to all the Manchester team there. You know, everyone that's helped me along the journey. Even you, Ali, that broke my ACL. But yeah, I've got I tore my ACL a few years ago as well. So yeah, it was nice. That's what I mean. It's just nice to come back. I haven't fought since that, so it's been nice to come back and just look so comfortable in a fight, you know, because that's a mindset that I've had. You know, I've just been so relaxed, feeling really good, fit, super. I felt the best shape I've ever felt in 33 years of my life. So
you mentioned Ali. Is that Ali Irish, the wrestler?
Yeah. Dagestani he is the best. He is, I would say, the older version. If Khabib was in like heavyweight, that's a guy. Like he is like Khabib. Like he is on the level of Khabib for me. Like I've wrestled with guys. Even like there's we've got a few guys at AVT as well. Sorry, Ash and Owen. We've got two guys there as well. Obviously, Olympic wrestlers at a very high level. You know, wrestling, grappling. It's unbelievable. But Ali Arish has got it's just that samba style, that scramble, just that aggressive, you know, constant pressure. Is an animal. He's an absolute. I call him an animal. He's just an animal.
Well, I MC on the fight shows, etc., and I've seen Ali fight a couple of times, and every time he fights, it's similar to Khabib, where he goes in there and he just wants to close the distance, get him against the cage fence, bring him down, and deal with him. Is that what sort of experience you had of him?
Yeah, he's just a mauler. He's an absolute mauler. He'll just literally just ground and pound you. He'll be kissing you. He'll be slapping you on your bum. You know, he can take the piss because he can, because you know he's that brutal. And like I said, it was he was, you know, if I was to get my ACL torn by anyone, I'm glad he did it. You know, that's one way to get your ACL torn. So yeah, he did it. You know, he knows he did. You know, but it's all love. You know, it's all love for the sport. And you know, he's an absolute beast. You know, it's been a pleasure to work with him, learn from him, and train with him. And you know, he's invited me to another gym, and obviously learn a bit of catch wrestling and things like that. So I think that was in Stockport. Kevin, I forgot his last name. Big guy, big unit, bald head, called Kevin. Really good guy, really nice guy. That's a Stockport Catch, I think it is. Stockport Catch Wrestling. So he took me to another gym, and like I said, really good, really nice guys, Ali. And like I said, it's a pleasure to work with. You know, anyone Manchester or anyone that wants to improve MMA, shout out to Ali Arish, and obviously, anyone at Team Predators as well. You know,
for sure, brother. And then from Manchester Predators, how did you end up doing the transition to AVT?
Well, one or two lads did mention it to me that were at Predators. You know, funnily enough, you know, they did say, "Oh, how come you haven't been to AVT?" And I don't know, it never just quite sunk in. You know, I had something on my doorstep that I'd never attended. And it wasn't until I think my students did an interclub there that I actually then had another instructor, Tony Diaz, who said, "Look, Robbie, you need to get to AVT, get to Danny Mitchell." And it wasn't until he said it, and then like I said, a few other people said, "I'm like, right, Robbie, you need to go now. You're here. You know, you've took your students here. Your students have competed here. You need to come train here now." And you know, that was it. I did. You know, I signed up. You know, 2019, I think it was. 2019, signed up to AVT.
And you mentioned Tony Diaz. Is that Tony T-Bone Diaz?
That's the one. You could only one Tony T-Bone Diaz. That's the one.
He's a character, isn't he?
He is.
Now, at AVT, who are your training partners there, and what sort of disciplines do they cover down there at AVT?
So AVT, we've got some absolute beasts, you know, like I've mentioned, Ash and Owen, you know, two very high level wrestlers, you know, Commonwealth champions, I believe, and gold medalists and Olympians in my eyes. You know, I call Owen is a Scouse Romero. I do not care. That guy's an absolute beast. You know, I would love to just see like a few of them. Just, you know, I'd love to see Owen, Ali, you know, Ash, you know, Clamp the champ. You know, I'd love to see some absolute maulers just in a little sub heavyweight grappling only competition, because you know, it'd be an excitement. You know, obviously I'm a striker, so for me to watch, you know, the grappling, I appreciate it a lot more since transitioning to MMA. I appreciate the grappling a lot more. You know, obviously, I'll stand and bang with any man. You know, I don't care who you are, how big you are. We'll stand and bang. We'll stand and trade. We'll see who goes down first. But, you know, then to appreciate the wrestling side of it and the grappling and all the transitions, the sweeps, the reversals, it's a beautiful sport, man. It really is.
And who are the coaches that are there at AVT?
So we've got, obviously, head coach Danny Mitchell. We've got David for the Muay Thai striking, sick guy. We've got Jay Furness as well for the grappling and the wrestling, and obviously the jits, and obviously does striking as well. And we've got Sai Stadniki, who does obviously a Muay Thai striker as well. But yeah, there's a few good solid coaches there at AVT in terms of striking and in terms of jiu-jitsu. Robert Barberio as well. I think you know Roberto. I think he comes to Gracie Bar every now and then. But Roberto's a sick guy, and he gets some rolls in with him again.
Brother, let me tell you a story about Roberto Barberio, right? This dude, right, when I trained with him, right, and first time I rolled with him, right, he ended up tangling me up so much in jiu-jitsu. I sent him a picture, and I was in Broadway outside this bakery, and it was called the Pretzel. And I sent him a picture of the pretzel. I said, look, that's what you did to me.
Yeah, he's a machine. He's such a technician, is Roberto, and massive respect to Sensei. All my senseis, massive respect to him. Because, they've taught me so much over the years. Like I said, I've just been absorbing it. I've been out of action for a whole year and a half, obviously lockdown, ACL, recovery and surgery. So, I've been a whole year and a half just soaking up so much information. And like I said, I'm just glad I got to showcase some of it at the weekend. And
even like people like Roberto, I think he was 30 when he started in jiu-jitsu, and now he's all the way and he's a black belt, but he didn't start at a young age.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't. I think, a lot of people sometimes, especially with the jiu-jitsu, because there's no striking, a lot of people, no disrespect, a lot of people feel more comfortable because, you're not going to take a big elbow or knee to the face or a big punch or kick, whatever. So I think in terms of the jiu-jitsu side of it, it's a lot easier for the body, in terms, obviously, the wrists, don't get me wrong, the wrists and the ankles, the knees and everything, of course, but it's a lot more comfortable than obviously striking, as to say sometimes. But it's beautiful, that you can be such a mature age and still, be doing it. Because that's what I want to be doing. I want to be doing still teaching at 40, learning at 50. I still want to be doing things that, and carrying my martial arts and on and on and on, till the day that, I'm gone. So, man.
Well, I fall into that category whereas before I do a bit of MMA and competing as well, but then it got to a stage where it was too hard and too difficult and you just couldn't keep up with it. Whereas now jiu-jitsu, I focus more on that because it gives you more longevity and you can stay in that sport longer without having that expiry date so quick, right?
Yeah. Massively. And that is the beauty of jiu-jitsu. Like I said, there's a lot of longevity in it. You're seeing a lot of older guys, more mature guys, that will stick to jiu-jitsu, like I said, because it is more comfort, like I said, you don't want to be busting your knee joint every now and then or your ankle or your wrist, but it happens, it's just part of the sport. It's just like I said, I want to be still doing this stuff in 10, 20, 30 years time, easily,
For sure, brother. Now, thank you for sharing all that with us, especially your martial arts journey and your last fight and what you're up to now. But one of the things I've noticed with you, brother, when I was watching you and doing some research on you, you seem very passionate about a certain topic. And you refer to it as the malarkey as well, where people may know it as the pandemic or COVID-19 or coronavirus. What's your thoughts on it? And, from a personal opinion, just from you, not from anyone else, but what do you feel about it all?
When it first, I'll be honest, okay, so when it first came in 2019, when it all started coming about in 2019 and you started seeing people dropping like flies in China and everyone like, whoa, what's going on here? Like you were quite worried, everyone panicking a little bit, and it's like, right, okay, let me just take a bit of time out and just, isolate. I'll stay at home. I won't go see nobody. I'll isolate. And, I did that for a little bit. And then, funnily enough, my kid's mum got it. And she didn't give it to me or the kids. None of us contracted it. It was just her. She had a bad cough. She was run down. But, bless, nothing happened, severely. And, didn't need to go to hospital or anything. So, Now, when time started passing on and the year went by and, year 2020 and got to do this, got to do that. And I just thought, don't make sense. Does not make sense because, one, for a start, you can go to queue up for McDonald's, or you can go to your local supermarket and queue up. But gyms are closed. The place that benefits people, that helps people's mental health, that helps people physical health, emotional health, and you want to close it. But you can go queue up for McDonald's, and you can go sit outside B&Q or Range or Tesco's, and everyone's touching, everyone's shopping. So I'll grab that, but I don't want it. I'll put it back. You can go to B&M, you can go to Home Bargains, you can go here, you can go there, but gyms are still closed. Barbers are still closed. Why is the barber closed? Why is the salon closed? But you can still go to Tesco's. And then the best bit for me was when they insulted people and they said, "Oh, the non-essential workers, kids, the non-essential workers, you've got to do your work, and us, normal workers or whatever you want to be called." And then it would only, I think it was this year, they gave everyone a promotion, and instead of non-essential, you're now a key worker. Yeah, so you're a key worker now. You're that important. You're a key worker. So for me, like I said, there's just so much going on in the background, because you wouldn't go get a flu test every time you thought you had the flu, would you? You wouldn't. You just feel run down. You stay at home, or you stay away from it. "Oh, look, don't come round tonight. I'm not feeling too good. I can't come round." Yes, I'll mate, no worries. Isn't that just logical, critical thinking anyway? If you wash your hands anyway. Should you not just be washing your hands when you sneeze or you cough? Go and wash your hands. So there's just so much more to it. It's just a way of control. It's a way of conforming. And I think I've seen one UFC fighter do it, and I can't remember it. Hillbilly guy, funny as fudge, and I think he got a twister. And I only remember this because he's very few fighters, and obviously Danny Mitchell, head coach, is one of very few fighters to get a twister finish. And I'm sure he got it. He's a country boy from America, and he even said in his post interview, he said, "Look, I was driving past a school, and it was so upsetting. I saw the kids wearing masks outside." Now, for me, this is what I say. Why are you wearing a mask outside? I've just obviously done an Instagram live video, took my top off, because I must have seen, as I'm driving, I must have seen about 10, 15 people wearing masks in this weather. Now, my question is, if you really think them masks work, go take a walk down Chernobyl. Go take a walk down Chernobyl, where all the radiation isn't, all that where it unfortunately, where unfortunate things happened. Go take a walk down there and see if that mask will save you. Because the only thing this is doing is stopping you from breathing. The only thing this is doing is stopping you from letting somebody else see your beautiful smile. The only thing this is doing is affecting everyone's children, not just my children, everyone's children. Why? Because kids are going to see this. Now, if I just walk around like this, are you gonna really want to talk to me? No, you're not. You're not going to even want to look at me. You're just going to see someone else like this, and you're going to think, "Oh, fuck that." I'm 6'5". Like I said, if I have my hood up and mask on, people are going to be crossing the street. They're not even going to want to say nothing to me. And this is a sad thing, is that already it's isolating people. People have been isolated for a whole year. I've just seen some, people getting vaccines, and unfortunately, I don't even want to say blood clots and nothing like that, but all this talk of blood clots is coming up after people having vaccines. Don't get a vaccine. You are literally being a guinea pig. If you are getting a vaccine, you're saying, right, you know what? You haven't even tested this on the rats or the mice or the monkeys or whoever, but don't worry. Yeah, I'll take a vaccine, mate. But I not. Where's all the research come for this? Don't we usually do 10 years to approve a vaccine? So the sad reality is, when even kids are messaging me. So one of my old students messaged me, said, "Sir, every 100 years they bring up like something." So 100 years ago in 1920, there was a black plague, or another 1820 Spanish flu and all this. And I thought, wow, this is a kid. This is one of my old students that have reached out and messaged me, because again, they're seeing what I'm commenting on the videos. And the thing is, I've just got the balls to say it. I'm past caring now, sir. And I can't condone it anymore. When my son asked me, "Dad, why haven't you got a COVID mask?" My son asked me, why have I not got a COVID mask when I go pick him up from school? And I said, "Listen, son, the thing is, people will want to wear a mask, but I don't wear a mask because Daddy's strong. Daddy's got an immune system that should work and should fight off any virus or any flu. Yeah, because that's all it is. It's a strain of flu. Yeah, it's a strain of flu that got man-made, whether it were in China, whether it were in bloody Hollywood. Yeah, because Donald Trump called it out. And you know what it is? As much as Donald Trump's a wrong-un, yeah, he's a wrong-un, but at least he called it out and he exposed a lot. Donald Trump did expose a lot. And that's why, you know what it is? A lot of people haven't got time for him or respect for him, but that's why Twitter and all these social media websites have shut him down because he was too vocal. And this is what people don't like. People don't like people going against the narrative. But what is everyone's hidden agenda? The control, right? Just wear a mask, just isolate, just get a COVID passport, just get this vaccine. What else? Are you going to be happy doing nothing? So all these small businesses are shut, but all these big bank companies, we're staying open. You lot can fight. You know, it's sad. You know, there's another black guy got killed. Is anyone talking about that? Is that in the news? No, it's not. But COVID's in the news. Oh, you must wear a mask. Oh, you can't go on holiday if you don't get a vaccine. Oh, you're getting a $5,000 fine now if you go on holiday. You know, where do you draw a line with any of it? And I could carry on talking, but I don't want to dwell on, and I don't want people to think, oh, it's some crazy conspiracy theories, because I'm not. I've done my research. I've done my research on common law. I've done my research on the strawman. And if people are educated to an extent, they'll know what I'm talking about. But people are not on my wavelength. I'm a champion. I'm a champion mindset. And this is what I tell people. I'm a champion of multiple martial arts, which tells you I don't mess about. Yeah? I will beat you in kickboxing. I'll beat you in boxing. I'll beat you in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And you know what? I'll beat you in MMA too. So there's 4 things right there that I can say I'm a champion in. What can you say that you're a champion in? If you want to know, if you've got all this common sense, no, you haven't. You've got COVID sense. People haven't got common sense no more. They've got COVID sense. You know, like I said, that I went to London. I'm on the train to London. The ticket inspector doesn't come up to me and say, where's your ticket? He goes, where's your mask? Oh, I'm exempt. Oh, well, you didn't say that. And I said, yeah, well, you should do your job then, shouldn't you? I am doing my job. I said, no, you're not. I said, if you're a ticket inspector, you come up to me, the first thing you should be asking is, where's your ticket? Because I'm on this train, am I not? Yeah, you are. And I said, right then, so would you not be concerned as to where I'm going? Why? When did I get on? Have I paid for this? Am I trying to jump a ride? Oh, yeah, but it's just part of his job now. And I said, no, mate. I said, money over morals, mate. I said, don't you got no morals? Don't you want to even question anything in your life anymore? You're just doing it because your job's telling you to do it. And this is a sad thing. They're going to start putting pressure on people. Right? Well, if you don't get a vaccine, you can't come to work. If you don't get a vaccine, you can't do this. If everyone says no, because I'm not dealing with no poison that's going into my body, because I don't know where it's come from. I don't know if there's, like I said, I'm sure Matt Hancock, he's another one that I've not mentioned. So I've got to give Matt Hancock a shout out. Shout out to Matt Hancock. Oh, you know, I've got to say it. Nonces and ponces that are in power, we need them out. We need the nonces and the ponces in power. We need them out. I'm going to say it again. Yeah, because Matt Hancock, I'm sure he stumbled on TV, BBC, ITV, whatever, Channel 4, whatever, Sky News, whatever want to broadcast this nonsense, said, you've got an 85% survival rate after you take the vaccine. You have got an 85% survival rate after you take the vaccine. That's what Matt Hancock said on national live TV. Well, if it was live or if it was real news. But this is what apparently Matt Hancock said on TV. Now, from a virus that gives you, what, a 97, 98, 96, we'll call it. We'll round it down, or to round it down to 95 for all you conspiracy mad theory heads. We'll round it down to 95%. So if you've got a 95% survival rate of this flu virus, why are you going to get a vaccine? What is the point of getting a vaccine? What is the point of wearing a mask? Because you've still got to socially distance even after you get a vaccine. So what is the point? You can't go. I saw something. You can't go anywhere unless you've got a vaccine. It's getting mad. The world's going bonkers, and I'm just going to keep on making noise because I believe it's right. I believe that we all have human rights. I believe we're all entitled to equal rights and freedom of speech and freedom of movement. Yeah. So, like I said, people need to educate themselves on common law, strawman, and law of the land. Once you know what you're entitled to, trust me. Yeah. I don't want to go on too much, but yeah. It's real.
I think it's important because it's one of those thoughts that are really, they really resonate with you. And for me, you know, it's one of those, I've got my own opinions on certain things.
Yeah.
But in next 20, 30 years, you know, we'll know what was right, you know, but at the same time, we as people have to make our own calculated risks and judgment and decision as to what we think is best for us and our family, right?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Robbie, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and experience with us. I really appreciate it, especially coming soon after your last fight. And I look forward to having you on the next podcast, my brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot, brother. Thank you for having me. Thanks again. Thanks for the love. Shout out to everyone at AVT, everyone at Predators Martial Arts, everyone at Raw Talent Martial Arts. That's the young bloods. If you don't know about them, follow them. Instagram. Yeah. And obviously follow Combat Challenge. Make sure you follow Combat Challenge as well.